In this video, we'll take an early look at the 2024 Week 1 main slate on DraftKings, focusing in on wide receivers. Who should you trust and who should you look the other way? Coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee with the Fantasy Football Consultants. I have been busy breaking down the Week 1 slates on FanDuel and DraftKings for quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, and in this video, wide receivers. So be sure to look in the description of this video to find the links to all the other shows once they become available. All right. Once we get closer to the season, don't worry, we're going to come back with a full cash lineup on FanDuel and DraftKings, along with our favorite GPP plays. So you don't miss any of our content, please smash the like button to this video. And if you haven't yet, hit the red subscribe button, followed by the bell icon. We really appreciate it. And we'd also appreciate it if you would put in the comments section your favorite wide receiver on the main slate for Week 1, considering their DraftKings price. All right, let's take a look at those DraftKings prices and those wide receivers right now. All right, for so many of these shows, we've been lamenting that, we don't have our usual stars on the main slate. Hey, look, we have all of the top guns on this one, with all due respect to two guys named Brown, Amon-Ra and AJ. We've got the talent here, right? Between Lamb, Hill, Jefferson, and Chase. Now, CeeDee Lamb, I want to acknowledge, he's had last year the most catches, the most yards, and the most touchdowns of all wide receivers. So I don't think it is going too far out on a limb to say he is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. However, two problems. One, he's in the midst of a contract squabble that might put him out of Week 1 entirely, or just missing a significant amount of preseason. And how much does that affect his performance? And the second thing is he's got a tough matchup playing at Cleveland to start the season. So rather than start CeeDee Lamb, I like Tyreek Hill, who's in a much nicer matchup, playing at home against Jacksonville. I think this is the shootout game, 49.5 over under, but a relatively small spread. So should be back and forth. Hill is so valuable to this team. I think that if you want to try to come up with something negative on Hill, and it is hard, he is 30 years old, but he's shown no signs of slowing down, and he's not going to start in Week 1 of the NFL. So I feel like we can start Hill in our lineup for 8,700 with confidence. A lot of the other positions, I don't necessarily think that you need to spend up for. The top running backs aren't on this slate, so they're not really expensive. The top running backs don't have to pay up at all at tight ends. So you have to pay up somewhere, and I don't mind it being right here with Tyreek Hill. Jefferson got some bad news that J.J. McCarthy, their first-round draft pick quarterback, is not going to play this year. So he is probably going to be stuck with Sam Darnold. So I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger on Jefferson in Week 1. I want to see how that Darnold and Jefferson connection is. But I can save money off the big guys. And I really like Mike Evans at only 7,300. Hey, news alert, everybody. In case you haven't heard, Mike Evans is the number 1 target on the Buccaneers. He is clearly the favorite of Baker Mayfield. If you look at his 13 touchdowns, he gives you such big play potential. 8 of the 13 touchdowns last year by Mike Evans happened outside of the red zone. And when they get close to the goal line, inside the 10, no other player on the Bucs gets more usage to catch footballs than Mike Evans. They love to throw down to him when they're close to the goal line. All this is great news for Mike Evans, but I haven't even told you the best part. His matchup. He is at home against the Washington Commanders, who are absolutely dreadful last year just in general, but specifically against the pass. So I think Mike Evans, given his price, is a really good play here. After Mike Evans, another really nice guy for salary is Chris Olave. So, his first two seasons, Chris Olave has been fine, averaging over 5 receptions a game for 70 yards, and he's been good around the goal line. In his first two seasons, 7 out of 10 passes he's caught inside the 10 with 6 scores, 4 touchdowns, and 2 2-point conversions. So what's the problem with that? Hope everybody caught it. That he only got 10 passes inside the 10 in 2 seasons. He needs to get more usage. He seems like he performs well when he gets the usage. So some of that I blame is, I'll call it a gimmick that they use with Taysom Hill around the goal line. But I hope they wake up to him and use him more. Got to like the matchup at home against one of the worst teams just in general in football. They only won 2 games in Carolina, and they didn't do a whole lot to improve their team. So I think that's a sneaky pick. So looking at other folks down here, let's talk a little bit about Jaylen Waddle. Now, forgive me, I'm the youngest sibling, so if you are also a younger sibling, you may have heard this. How many times have you heard, "You're not as good as your older brother"? It doesn't matter whether I'm as good as my older brother. It just matters whether I'm good. So similarly, it doesn't matter whether Waddle is as good as Tyreek Hill. He's not. But is he good? Absolutely. You gotta love what Waddle brings to the table. He has averaged 75 yards a game. If you didn't know about Hill, you would say that's great. That's like number 1 wide receiver potential. Plus, once again, it's this great matchup I keep talking about. Miami at home early in the season. That's when Tua is hot, literally and figuratively, and he performs. So is he as good as Hill? No, but you save $2,400, and I have no problem if you want to do that instead of playing Hill, drop down the Waddle, use that $2,400 elsewhere. Another bargain that I see that I kind of like here is Drake London. Now, hold on, hear me out, because some of you are like, what? Look at this. 3 catches, 2 catches, 1 catch, 3 catch. He certainly has had some off games in his 2 years of playing in the NFL. But please remember this. In the 2 years of playing at the NFL, his quarterbacks have been Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder in a run-oriented offense. Now we have a new coaching staff, and they opened the pocketbook to bring over Kirk Cousins. So there is no doubt that the best weapon Kirk Cousins is going to have is Drake London. So if he improves their passing game, which I think there's only one way but up, you've got to expect these numbers for Drake London to go up. And I feel like his price of $6,000 doesn't reflect that. So I have no problem if you want to go with London in week 1. Another sneaky pick at only $5,700 is George Pickens. Now, I like this pick more if the quarterback who wins the job is Russell Wilson and not Justin Fields, because I trust Russell Wilson's arm more. And I have to come with one major caveat. As I am filming this, the trade that has been discussed going from the Niners to the Pittsburgh Steelers is they may bring over Brandon Ayuk. Now, if Brandon Ayuk is on the Steelers for week 1 and is active and playing, itch nay on the Pickens nay. Don't play George Pickens. But if he is the clear number 1 option, which right now he is for Russell Wilson, yeah, give me Pickens in this week 1 at only $5,700. I'll tell you someone that I do really like, who quite honestly I believe DraftKings screwed up. He's way too cheap at $5,500. Look, in the 11 healthy games that Christian Kirk had last year, he had over 5 receptions a game and 69 yards. There's nothing wrong with that. What was disappointing, he only had a total of 3 touchdowns for the year. But here's the good news. Red zone hog Calvin Ridley is gone. All those targets near the goal line is going to go to somewhere. And by the way, Trevor Lawrence had a down year last year. I expect he should do better this year. A lot of them have to go to Christian Kirk. So I like this option here at $5,500. What a bargain to get a number 1 wide receiver with a good offense and a good quarterback in a really high-scoring game here with an over-under of 49.5 points. So look, let me just give you some basic thing I'm thinking out pretty early as I keep talking about how great I think this Jacksonville-Miami game, the highest scoring game on the slate. I think from a GPP perspective, you can use either quarterback, Tua or Trevor Lawrence. Tua is going to be more expensive, but if you have the money, you can go with Tua and connect that with either Hill or Waddle, and then run that back here with Christian Kirk or an Evan Ingram. And I think you've gotten a good start to a very good GPP lineup. All right. So those are kind of the key guys I wanted to go over with you. I just want to point out some super cheap guys here at 5,200. If you can figure out what is going on in Los Angeles for the wide receivers, as I am recording, it looks like Joshua Palmer is going to be Justin Herbert's number 1 target. Remember, Keenan Allen's gone, Austin Eckler's gone, Mike Williams is gone. That's a whole lot of targets that are going to be freed up. And he is like the incumbent. He has a rapport already with Justin Herbert. So I like this $5,200 price if you believe he's going to be the number 1 option. The other thing is Buffalo. Who is going to be Josh Allen's number 1 option? Because this is another high-scoring game between Buffalo and Arizona. Josh Allen has to throw to somebody besides Dalton Kincaid. And my early leader and my kind of sleeper pick this offseason is Khalil Shakir. He does give you big play production. Of all the wide receivers in camp, he is playing with the starters and usually as one of the top 2 wide receivers. Let's see if that sticks. He also has the rookie Coleman and Curtis Samuel from Washington. All of these guys are cheap. So I inside track on Shakir. But if you believe the number 1 target is either Coleman or Samuel, fine, go with them at this price. I think it's pretty good given the high scoring nature and the quality of the quarterback. All right, that's a good look at wide receivers. Be sure to check out the other shows. In fact, I'll put on the screen now 2 other shows for the preseason that I think you'll enjoy. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.